Wow. I don't know whether to be extremely mad at DoorDash for this most ridiculous order or the customer for not appreciating the driver. Let's talk this one out. We are going to go over this most crazy order I've seen in a while. Who is to blame, DoorDash or the customer? Finally, why is something like this even allowed? Now, I am absolutely outraged for every driver who saw this order. You know, the little mean emoji face, the angry face? Like, I feel like that's very appropriate here. What I'm about ready to show you, it is not my order, but how many drivers saw this order, and I want to know who the heck delivered it, because it certainly would not be me. Okay, so I'm going to put it up right here. First of all, $2.75 going over 17 miles. That's not the worst part. That's bad enough. The worst part is it's a large order catering, which means that this customer ordered over $100 worth of food. That's the minimum, $100. It could have been $200, it could have been $300. I don't know the restaurant in particular because it's not my order, and I don't know their price point. So some customer decided, hey, I think it's a fantastic idea to order something that far away and not give my driver anything for the amount of time it's going to take them to pick up at the restaurant, drive to my house, drive back. I'm not going to give them anything for attempting. I'm assuming attempting being a loose word, trying to keep an order over $100 warm for something that far of a distance. They don't appreciate that the driver is using their own vehicle. To me, wow. We're going to get into who is to really blame for this order. But man, does this make you mad? Because it really makes me mad. What is your first initial reaction? What would it be if this actually came to your phone? Even if I was at 70%, and you guys know I'm platinum, even if I was at 70%, and this would have brought me to 69%, I would have declined in a heartbeat. There's no way I would be doing this order. Now, some can argue that there could be a cash tip waiting for the driver when they drop it off. I'm going to come back and say, how many times has that actually happened to you? Could it? Absolutely. The chances of it happening? To me, slim. Very slim. I could actually almost understand. No, I can't. I can't even say that because I can't even lie. I can't lie about this. I was going to say, if a driver wants to take a risk doing this for like 2 miles and thinking, hey, there could be a cash tip waiting for me, not something I would recommend and not something that I would do personally. But if a driver thinks that and they're going to take a risk on this order, to me, this is a very risky order to drive over 17 miles for a chance it's still going to stay $2.75. Yeah, not happening with this driver anytime soon. I normally don't tell drivers what to do because this is your business and you run your business the way you want to. You take orders the way you want to. I would never recommend any dasher taking an order like this one. Here's another point. Why wasn't it on earned by time? DoorDash had a better chance of getting a Dasher to complete this order if it was on earn by time. Because then they really couldn't see that it was a no tip order. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. Okay. We're going to get into who's to blame. This is where you guys come in. You're going to have to let me know what's your opinion on this. Who is to blame? Is it DoorDash for only paying the driver $2.75 to drive 17 over 17 miles? Or is it the customer's fault for not appreciating the driver and thinking it's okay to not give them a tip? Which one is to blame in this order? Yeah. Okay, let's look at it from both ends. So, on one hand, let's talk about DoorDash. They think that it's okay, knowing that this order has 0 tip on it. They think it's okay for a driver to drive 17 over 17 miles to deliver this order. Not only that, why, and this is what I don't get about the DoorDash platform in general, and I've said this for years, there should be a mileage cap on a lot of these deliveries. Obviously, depending on whether you're suburban, you're rural, you're urban, wherever you live. Because when you see something like this, man, it's defeating, isn't it? I think it's defeating. To me, it's demoralizing. It's insulting. DoorDash just insulted any Dasher who saw this offer. To me, this shows that do they really care what you're doing to get this order delivered? Do they care that you're driving over 17 miles? Do they care that you're trying to keep the food warm to travel that far? How long do you think it's going to take to drive there and back? If it's highway miles, maybe 20 minutes, but most likely it's not highway miles. And it could take you probably half hour, 40 minutes, depending on traffic, and then that back. So let's break this down even further. I just realized that. So a Dasher on I'll say the low side, 40 minutes there and back. On the high side, we'll say what, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. So well over an hour and a half to complete this order. Either way you look at it, rough number, an hour. $2.75 for an hour's worth of a DoorDash driver's time. Talk about an order not worth it. Man. Okay, let's talk about the customer. I think I already said it, but I'll say it again. Wow. Talk about somebody who wants what they want when they want it and have no regards to how it gets to their house. I always say this. Dashers, if you take something like this, you can't complain that the customer didn't tip because you're responsible for taking an order like this. Don't do it. But I also say this to the customer. Customers, your driver knows where you live. Be careful. It's crazy to me that both ends of these parties, do they really care about the driver? My answer is no, which is why you should never do something like this. My other question I have is, why is an order like this even allowed? Do you guys ever question that when you see one of the most ridiculous orders? It doesn't even have to be this one. It could be one that you've seen yourself. First of all, what is the most ridiculous order you have ever seen? Go ahead and let me know. You know, like I said earlier, I think there should be limitations. I think there should be mile restrictions, because for a Dasher to do their job properly and get to someone's house with warm food, it's not going to happen that far away. The expectation to me is absolutely ridiculous. Can you imagine if it was like ice cream trying to go 17 over 17 miles? It would be soup by the time it got there. No, I'll say this. Shame on DoorDash for allowing something like this to happen. Shame on the customer for ordering over $100 worth of food and not tipping anything in the app. Like I said, they could be a cash tipper. But as a dasher, would you ever take a chance on doing that at 17 miles? Good luck. So, what do you think of all this craziness? What do you think of this order? I already said my piece on it. You know, DoorDash, talking about ridiculous. DoorDash sent out a email to my market and other markets this past week with a certain type of delivery, in my opinion, is way too risky. You're going to want to check this video out next, and I'll see you over there.